Listen, if there's one series that you need to go out the way to watch, it is this one. Because let me tell you, beyond it just being a spectacular series, Samuel L. Jackson puts on a performance of a lifetime. So let's jump into the review of the new series, The Last Days of Ptolemy Grey. What's up, folks, and welcome back to the channel today for another review. I'm very excited to talk about this one because today, folks, we're going to be talking about the series The Last Days of Ptolemy Grey, coming to Apple TV Plus March 11th. Now listen, there is a fantastic cast here, but it is headlined by Samuel L. Jackson, who puts on a performance of a lifetime, and he's so good. And truly, I think he's like considered a national treasure, you know, like no matter what he does, no matter what he touches, he's just always top tier. And then when I saw that he was coming back to television, I was like, oh, can never get enough of him. But yet alone, when you get a series, when you get this constant episode after episode of him, you know you're gonna have a good time. And this really delivered. I literally could end the review, and I hope you would just go out and watch it just with that alone. But no, let's talk about it here, because this was a journey, and I'm gonna be I'm gonna be so honest and vulnerable in this review that like you're just gonna have to work with me here. Now, I love the synopsis because it's actually written pretty damn good, and I think it does get exactly to all of the key points of what's happening here. So Samuel Jackson plays Ptolemy Grey, who's an ailing man forgotten about his family, his friends, and even himself. But then he's suddenly left without a trusted caretaker because his great grandnephew Reggie was murdered. And now he's kind of like, well, what do I do? You know, no one's really there to step up for him in a way that he's always needed. And with him having memory issues here, dementia, you know, who's to help? But, you know, an angel out of nowhere, Robyn, suddenly steps up to help him. She becomes his caretaker. And Robyn, you know, she is very reserved about him initially, but she actually finds peace with him. And essentially, Robyn's kind of related to him, I guess. I mean, within close, I say in close proximity of black families, where like if somebody's been around the family for enough, then you say, oh, that person's of that person, and that person's that person, so you start calling them cousin, aunt, whatnot. You know, that's kind of how this kind of happens. But I mean, she is many years younger than him, but they actually grow a bonding to one another. And now Ptolemy's whole motive is he wants to figure out who killed Reggie. And Robyn is there because she is just his caretaker, so she's kind of going for the ride, but yet she kind of needs him, but they're learning from one another, and I think they have like a really good relationship. So, you know, Ptolemy, who's named after the Greek king of Egypt, who happens to be Cleopatra's father, for some facts for you all too. Like I said, with his nephew Reggie dying, I mean, things get real for him. And he's already struggling with his memory, but like to lose the person that, you know, his great grandnephew, the person that was just so close to him, like it's even worse than what's happening with his health for him. But like if he's gonna make anything count before it's all said and done, he's gonna get to the bottom of that. Now, let me tell you about this. The first episode was so good but so hard to watch, I thought I had to stop. Because seeing him struggle with dementia was just so hard. I was just in tears. I felt so bad. And it's such a scary thing. It's such a scary thing. And the way how they shot it, the performance by Samuel L. Jackson, like you will literally be a bucket of tears just seeing and knowing that people go through that. And the way how he portrays this and brings this character to life going through this illness, it was a lot. And I'm so happy that the tone of the second episode changed, because I don't know if I could have did much of how the first one was toned. Because not only is he like suffering with, and dementia, we know it's like, you know, memory loss and whatnot, but beyond that, it's also like the disassociation of memories. So he's also getting memories of his past, and he's trying to correlate them to some of the current things that are happening. So like he's being visited by you know, his father figure, and learning about his past, learning about the struggles with his mother. And I mean, when you think about how old he is and you think about the time period, then we're going back into the days of segregation, and that right there is already hard enough to deal with. So you got that on one end, plus what he's dealing with currently was a lot. But because the next episode started to become more about the journey of figuring out who killed Reggie, then I was able to create some balance, because it was so emotional and it was so surreal of what he was dealing with and whatnot. But like I said, you know, with the dreams of him being visited by when he was a child, and he can't make sense of it, but it's also giving him a lot of clues to not only who he is as a person now, but understanding why he goes about the way he goes about with things now. It was just how the story came together was so damn good. It was brilliant. It really was brilliant how they did this and whatnot. But like I said, you know, going back in those times, you know, of segregation is triggering, and you just could imagine this having to relive through some of the things, and some of the imagery that they displayed was really hard. It was no getting away from that at all. So I do have to say, you know, if any of that sounds trigger warning to you, then yes, just be ready for it. There will be a lot of trigger warnings throughout this series. Like, it gets very real on all accounts. But yeah, with that being said, you know, this unlikely bond between Ptolemy and Robyn was really good, because it was like best friends, you know. They had nicknames for each other and everything. She really changed his life around, because he was swirling into this pit of, you can almost say, depression and whatnot. He was living bad, unhealthy. Just, you know, things was piling up, and it was almost like, yeah, he was giving up, and with Reggie not being there to help them, it was only just making things worse there. With all of that, there is a lot of social commentary, and it's very good. It's very good. It's not overbearing, but it's just life lessons, and like, for her especially, it's about really growing and maturing, and like seeing it through his eyes was like very special, you know, of him witnessing this young lady really becoming a woman. And from the viewer's standpoint, like, seeing this character mature was some of the best parts of this series, you know. And as I said, Samuel L. Jackson is golden every episode, and it's just like he went to new elements of his acting and just put out a stellar performance. Like, I seen him really channeling things I have not seen him do before, and so much emotion. And like, yes, he still had his Samuel L. banter thrown in there, of course he was, so there was some funny moments, but like, really seeing, even at this age, he's still elevating his career. He's just that damn good, folks. And like, while I thought this was going to be like a murder mystery and adventure, because obviously he was like, hey, who killed my great grandnephew, we got to go figure it out, it was really just a drama on self-discovery. Like, it's and that's how like I said, like, the script was so good, because they really told a lot of good stories. The plot, the messages, everything really was so good, so good. So yeah. There's also some other little funny Easter eggs in there. I mean, there's a scene where Samuel Jackson is talking about Thor, the god of thunder, and you know, I thought that was just so funny to kind of hear him, because you're just like, Nick Fury, it's you, isn't it? But you know, it had its importance to why he was going about it that way. But when you kind of really think about Ptolemy, you know, this was a swan song for him, and he had a journey of making things right for all of the neglect, all the wrongdoing that he's done. And even towards his family, where, you know, as I said, his family kind of forgot about him, but there was moments where he could have did better, and he kind of forgave his family, and he went about trying to make things right before, you know, he kicked over the bucket. So like, I really like that journey of seeing a guy who was just kind of stuck in his ways, kind of secluded, then really being brought back into society, and then trying to leave an impact. And not only just that, he watched this young lady Robyn grow into a woman, which was really special and really good. And it tells you some life lessons, man, especially with money. When money's involved with family, things can get ugly. So, you know, I really appreciate the messages that came out of this. I thought this was a fantastic series. There were so many things that this series did right. I literally can't find anything I didn't like. I just wish I could have more. But hey, that's what season 2s are all about. And I don't know if they can actually do it, but hey, I will be all for it. But I got to tell you, go out the way to check this out. The Last Day of Ptolemy Grey is fantastic. It's on Apple TV Plus, March 11th. Samuel Jackson puts on a performance of a lifetime. You got to check this one out, folks. But hey, once you do, jump in the comments. Let me know your thoughts about it. And as always, stay tuned for more reviews very soon.